Carlos Nelson with Cascade Media and What's Up Kansas City. And today we're going to be talking some politics with a real politician. And when I say a real politician, old school, I had talked to this gentleman yesterday to secure the interview. And I was saying to him that his reputation precedes him. And I've known about this man, Mr. Henry Rizzo, really for about 35 years when I first came to the city, and it's been involved in politics for some time. And it's a plum pleasing pleasure, as Mr. Jim Watts would say, to have him on the show today. How are you doing, Mr. Rizzo?
I am doing fine.
You tell our audience, for newcomers, a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a former Missouri state legislator and county legislator and chairman of the county legislature. My background is mostly in economic development and commerce. I have two sons. One is works for KCPD. The other one is minority leader of the Missouri Senate. I think I would bring a lot to the council, and I think that my background has been very proactive in the neighborhoods.
What made you want to run for this office at this late date, per se? Tell us the story behind that.
I was kind of drafted into this because they put 120-person homeless camp.
Take your thumb down. You're blocking your picture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. And I basically called Councilman Bunch's office 5 days in a row, and he never returned my call. So then I got to checking, and a lot of the neighborhood leaders were upset with him. And I kind of left it alone and decided what I was going to do. And then I got a call from like 5 neighborhood leaders north and south of the river and said, you need to run. And I garnered early support for this and decided that I would do
it. What's your platform that you're running on? What are the issues that you're running on?
My platform is that we look at short-term rentals, major problem in the city. They're taking over our neighborhoods. They're making our neighborhoods into hotels. The next one is the murder rate, working with the police to come up with a plan to lower the murder rate. And also to get more involved in the neighborhoods, give them more access to the city council, make development easier in the city to not keep developers waiting 6 and 8 months for approvals while their bank accounts lower. Also being very involved in every part of the neighborhoods.
Tell me this, how do you feel over the last 4 years that district and the overall development scheme in Kansas City has come along?
I feel like that there's been some obvious mistakes made, like the current councilman put on a $30,000 Go Green on every new house built in Kansas City, and that adversely affects younger couples and people working with a little shorter money from getting into new houses, and I just don't agree with that.
Property taxes going up like hell.
Yes.
How do you feel? Do you feel that the current council and administration in general have been judicious with the taxpayers' dollars?
I think that one of the big problems right now with the council is that they're making decisions independent of the people. And I think the people need more involved in those decisions. It's their money, and I think we need to be a lot more frugal as we spend it.
You know, I had that conversation with a current councilman that I've read a lot of reports, and they hire a lot of independent people to come in and give them analysis of what's going on. And I would say You can go right on Independence Avenue and get anybody off the street, and they'll tell you what the problems are in the community. And you're giving these consultants $100,000 and all of this to tell you that y'all are managing from the top down, and you're not listening to the community organizations and the people that these things are affecting. How do you feel about
Right. Well, I think that's a valid point. I think the whole problem with the current council is they're not being effective enough in the city, in the neighborhoods. I think the neighborhoods need more transparency. I think they need more input. I think that we just did a $30 million expenditure on a anti-crime program. They spent the same money in 12. It didn't work back then. Now we give them an additional $30 million. Things like that just kind of don't go against the grain with me.
We talked earlier a little bit off camera about these bike lanes, and I get out every now and then, and boy, they have to me damaged a lot of businesses because the parking and what have you. And then when you come up Gillum Road, man, and it's a one lane and all of that, and I'm like, whose idea is this, especially for the districts that they have these lanes in? And the more I'm looking at it and driving around, it seems like they're trying to really set the city up for uh, uh, this new look and gentrification in these areas that I just don't know. What's your opinion about them lanes, man?
Bike lanes are absolutely unsafe. That he didn't receive hardly any neighborhood input. They're removing them to the north side of Truman Road. It was a $7 million experiment that went terribly wrong. He admitted at the West Side Forum at Guadalupe that I've got it wrong. He is a former founder of Bike Lane, Bike Walk.
What's his name?
Eric Bunch, and he's a one-trick pony. The only thing he's done in office is install bike lanes.
Yeah, well, I know for the third district, I didn't like it. I'm like, black people don't ride no damn bikes like that. And
right.
This is our district, and it's looking like you're trying to prepare the district for an invasion of people that have different cultural things.
Right.
And the same thing Northeast, because I used to stay right behind Northeast High School.
Right.
Yeah, by the park. So,
sure.
If we want bike, we get in the park and ride. Or
absolutely, it is a debacle to the tune of over $7 million.
Now, think what that could have done for housing and infrastructure and what have you. So,
yeah.
What else would you have to say to our community that you feel that they need to be paying attention to? Because I think at this point, they're talking about a new stadium downtown and then possibly north of the river, just put their hat in the ring. How do you feel about all of that?
I think the number one thing that's not going on right now in this fourth district is the councilman's not listening to the people. I think that I would be a voice for the people of the fourth district. I think he's a proven independent councilman that is going to do whatever he wants and not do what the will of the people want. And I think I have got a reputation that shows that I am very involved in the neighborhoods, very involved in listening. And the number one thing that I do that he isn't doing is return calls. You can't represent your people unless you return calls and talk to them. And he's simply not doing that.
Hasn't returned my call, I'll tell you that much. And I'm not taking a shot at him. I said that I was going to put a list of council people, county people that we've offered to have them come on the show to talk to the constituents, and they refuse to call back or they start vacillating. And I don't think you can represent your constituents in that way. Now,
You can.
a key question I want to ask you: how well do you feel that you can work and bring about a coalitions and bring about a bridging the gap with your fellow representatives to get some things done?
Well, I think my endorsements prove that. I've got literally all the endorsements. He's got a couple labor endorsements. I've got Freedom. I've got La Raza. So it shows that I have the ability already to bridge the minority community into a viable power in the 4th district. I think he's totally ignored them, and I think that they're tired of it. I've got the endorsement of Northland Strong, Citizens Association, La Raza. I've got the endorsement of Ask Me Local 500, which represents 1,000 city employees. He writes their checks and they endorse me.
All right, tell me this. Do you have anything to say about the Kansas City School District?
The Kansas City School District is, I think, in the middle of a comeback process, and I would do anything I could to help them. I think the schools are the foundation of this city, and I think we need to support
them. Let's switch gears and let's talk about the county a little bit. Do you think, it's always been a little friction between the county and the city. And do you think if you got in, you could help bridge that gap?
Yes, I was a former chairman of the county legislature. The current chairman is Duran, and me and Duran go back 30 years. So we have a relationship, and that's one of my skills in this job. I have the ability to reach out to the county and to the state and be effective.
All right. Before we end this, are there any things that you would like to say to our audience and to overall Kansas City community?
I think the 4th district needs a proactive representative for the people. I think that they're tired of a bike lane councilman. I think I can be that proactive member, and I would ask for the vote for Rizzo on the April 4th.
All right. Hey, Mr. Rizzo, as I would say, I'm always stealing my boy Jim Watts' line.
Sure.
Plum pleasing pleasure to have you on the show. He's always saying that, and I'll be like, Watts, why don't you cut out all the niceties?
Sure.
But we're going to end our broadcast as we always do, and I think you really can appreciate it. When you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself.
That's exactly.
The program is brought to you by the Kansas City Business Association.